All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to a special live stream. Now, it's been a while since I have did one of these, and this one is a reaction because you know that I have been talking in my videos. Shout out to the chat, Retro Arnold and Tina. Hey, yow. Um, I have been talking about a lot of stuff with the CBA, a lot of stuff with the W. Um, And in some of my videos, I have talked about that the W is not going away. Well, shout out to my good friend, good content creator, the Beat Chef. He provided some very, very important details that we're gonna break down tonight, and It's going to show you where the how this all started with the W and the ABL, and why with the current CBA right now it has history to repeat itself. So, without further ado, we're going to dive into this video. But what's going on, Anna? Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to break down I'm going to play a segment of the here and there, then I'm going to break down and I'm going to explain it to you because it all going to make sense. It's going to answer all of y'all questions that y'all have been seeking. Shout out to Tina because she's been wanting me to do a live for a minute to talk about some of this stuff. So we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of this. So again, shout out to the Beat Chef. So we're going to get into this because this, I think, is very, very important for us to really, really, really look at this, take this information on. All right, let me get that little banner off my thing because it's clogging up everything. There we go. All right, let's go.
Jealousy, greed, and bitterness have always plagued the WNBA since the very beginning. With that being said, let me crank this ride up and let's get to rolling.
And like you say, hey Anna, let's like you say, crank this ride up. Let's get to it. So y'all need to sit back. If you got a cigar, you got a bottle of wine,
do, peeps?
join the lounge, and we got to get it.
Hit that like, that share, that subscribe button. Hit that bell to get notified when I drop my next video. Hit that hype button. My new subscribers, I thank you for joining.
Now, before I continue, if y'all have not subscribed to his channel, show him some love. When I tell you this guy me and him, we connected off our YouTube and on X, and we support each other. What's going on, Lyrica? So this, like I said, his video is probably about 30 minutes long. So this live is going to be longer, but there's a lot of information that I need to make sure y'all pay attention to and listen to. And then if y'all have questions each time, then just let me know. I'll try to do everything I can to support y'all. So continue.
Because this has been a wild WNBA ride. And I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope you get something from the content. To my day ones, thank you for helping me build this platform and continue this WNBA conversation. Bitterness. Where did it start? It's simple. Let me hit 104 and get this bus crank up fast enough so we can go back to the 90s. The soundtrack for this will be Earth, Wind, and Fire, because all three of them will come into play over the next weeks and months. But right now, Earth, Wind, and Fire had a song called Reasons. And here they go. In the early 90s, David Stern, then the commissioner of the NBA, he came up with a quirky idea, but he kept it in his back pocket. Years later, the dream team was balling: Jordan, Barkley, Bird, Magic. But the women weren't doing so hot. See, when they went to training camp, a young Dawn Staley tried to make that team. The coach of that team was named Tara Vandermeer. She was the coach at Stanford, a legend. She called Dawn Staley into her office and told Dawn straight up, "You're too short and you don't have enough experience internationally to make this team."
Hey, Peggy, what's
Dawn
going on?
goes back to Philadelphia, her hometown. She starts working at a department store for a couple of years. Her agent calls her and says, "Hey, you need to go join this team." Gets her a gig overseas, and she plays a couple years. Around 1995, David Stern's mind is now churning after he's seeing how much international success they had with the NBA. But he says, you know what? I can market the NBA with women. So he decides to get the governors of the NBA, the owners, to invest in Team USA and go on a tour. So Don Staley tries to make that 96 Olympic team. Tara Vandermeer's still the coach. Vigorous tryout, she makes the team. But they go on a whirlwind tour around the world and through the United States. I remember this very well. They were playing.
Now, as he's telling this story, it's going to take you to 2024 when Caitlin Clark when she was supposed to join the Olympic team and she got held out of the Olympic team. This is going to lead up to that. It's crazy how you already know the saying goes. History repeats itself. And this is a prime example right here how history repeats itself.
In collegiate all-star teams every weekend, it was shown on NBC. You would see them on Inside Stuff, the works. They were really marketing this team. Around the same time in 95, Cheryl Swoops got those air swoops, becoming the first woman to get a shoe contract. But at the same time, there's a group of people, Steve Hams, Annie Cribbs, and Steve Cavelli.
Mm-hmm.
3 people that really didn't have a basketball background. Annie Cribbs was a former Olympian, but they had an idea about making a basketball league. Ones had started in the past had failed. So they started gathering investors throughout this 95 season, but they needed players. So through some back channel connections that they had, they reached out to every player on the USA team in 1995 and spoke to them individually. Jennifer Izzy, star player from Stanford, was the first to verbally commit.
Well, you would know what Jennifer
followed
Izzy.
by Teresa Edwards. Teresa Edwards is a legend in basketball. At this time, she was an older woman. She had already won 3 Olympic medals up to this point. So she joined on. They went back to training camp because, like I said, they're touring, and told the others. Verbally, per Dawn Staley, in her book, she mentions that as far as she knew, every player was down to get into this new league. This new league was called the ABL, American Basketball League. So the spring of 1996 rolls around.
How many of y'all?
It's around April.
How many of y'all familiar with the
David
ABL?
Stern has a rush
and when it started,
press conference. He's flanked by his,
what's up, Nicholas?
At that time, a president in the NBA named Val Ackerman. He would then name Val Ackerman the first president / commissioner of the WNBA, a newly formed women's basketball league. At a table is a young Lisa Leslie, a very young Rebecca Lobo, having coming off that 1995 undefeated championship of Gino Ariema's Connecticut Huskies. This would be Gino's first championship. This would start his reign as one of the top coaches in college basketball. The slogan for that new league was called "We Got Next." They would go on a campaigning Lisa Leslie, Lobo, and Swoops around the country, getting the build-up ready for this. They go on to win the Olympics in the summer. After the Olympics, in the fall, the ABL starts. Now, the ABL is the beginning of the jealousy. Because see, in the ABL, $150,000 max contracts. The lowest contract was $50,000. This was in 1996 money. That was a ton of money in 1996. In today's dollars, that'd be about $165,000 and $350 on the high end. The players played an 8-month season. That was the distinguishing thing. 8-month season, 40 to 44 games. They had 401ks. They had year-round health benefits. And they each...
Now, before I continue, the ABL had a longer season than the WNBA before it started. The ABL was going 8 months. 8 months. So that was pretty much going into the NBA season. Plus, they had all the benefits. They had all the money to get paid. So during that time, like you said, Dawn Staley was part of the ABL before she crossed over to the WNBA. So, but I'm gonna let him finish, and then I'll chime back in.
Each got a 10% stock investment in their own league. The players were also integral in naming the teams, coming up with how the draft was done, coming up with the rules. That's important. Keep that in mind as we go. So they were fully invested in the league, kind of like what this other league that we keep talking about that keeps popping up. There's similar threads. They get started in the fall of 1996. They show the games on what is now FS1. Back then it was called Fox Sports Net. I live in
Fox
Texas. They used to call it Fox Sports Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
They also played these games on BET. Now keep in mind, the WNBA has not started yet. The WNBA is paying about $15,000 to $50,000.
Oh yeah, Retro. The ABA was
benefits.
it was the team. It was the league.
So they weren't paying as much as the other league. However, the ABL had all the talent. I remember watching these games as a teenager. Very exciting basketball because this was new to the United States for the most part.
Hey,
all
to be honest with you, it's a whole lot of truth in this. It's history. I did some research on it myself.
Large media contingents. There would be people scalping tickets, packed houses. They had a Cinderella first season. The WNBA would start roughly a few months later in June of 1996 or 7, excuse me. They had a media campaign for it. Of course, they had the big networks, ESPN. They had games on the Lifetime channel. They had games on NBC. They had the jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
They had the cards. They came out with 17 cans. Each can had each team, and each can had 10 cards in the can. So in this can, there's 10 cards from the original WNBA season, the inaugural season, the first players to ever step court and have a WNBA patch on their jerseys. They had the marketing. They had the TV. The other league had the excitement and the fan connection. These people that ran this league made sure that the players interacted with the communities. Dawn Staley played for the Richmond team. There was a Columbus, Ohio team. There was teams all over the country, Portland, you name it. But they interacted with fans. The WNBA, at certain points, ESPN executives would go over to the ABL executives and tell them, I think we put our money on the wrong product. That's how bad the ABL was whooping the WNBA's butt.
Now, that's funny that ESPN executive went over to the ABL and say, hey, I bet it on the wrong league. Because you think about it, the ABL had all the talent, the younger talent and everything like that. The WNBA could only get the older talent. They couldn't pay them. The ABL was paying their players. Their players had stock into their league. It's almost similar to what NIL is today for Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cam Brink, and all of them. So I'm gonna let him keep going because this stuff gets so deep, and this is why I continuously keep saying that the WNBA is not going nowhere, because the more he talks, the more it goes on, it's going to be so deep. It's going to be so deep, and you're going to see the jealousy play out through the whole history of the WNBA and the old guard. Listen to me closely. Pay attention. The old guard. And something that we all been talking about.
Furthermore, a lot of these players played in college against each other or had played overseas against each other. During their second season, one of their executives, Annie Cribbs, posted a suggestion to Val Ackerman to get them to do a all-star team versus all-star team, ABL versus WNBA. Val Ackerman declined it, saying it would be a publicity stunt.
They were scared of the competition.
They were wanting to get at Rebecca Lobo's butt because they didn't respect Rebecca Lobo's game and they wanted to wear her butt out. Like I said, they had the better talent.
The WNBA started in June of 97.
During their second season, there was a noticeable shift. They had a dunk contest. There was a young woman named Sylvia Crawls, great player. She did the blindfold dunk,
it was found,
just like
but I think it started
the
year after.
Early 90s dunk contest. She did the exact same dunk. It was shown on national TV. NBA executives were calling this woman at the All-Star game, calling her agent, telling her
Tina,
how much would it take for you to
but
get
basically
over
in a nutshell,
parlay.
yes.
That's how bad this woman was. Her agent called the ABL executives and told them what the NBA was doing. They said, how much do we got to do to make this right? Sylvia responded, I want to be the highest paid player.
That's a pretty good
ABL.
Analogy.
They made it happen.
How the ABA was
I'm telling you, they had the talent.
The NBA.
The WNBA, they basically constructed their league with a bunch of veterans. That's why Cynthia Cooper was an older player when she got to the league, even though she was dominant. She was playing against other older players for the most part. They didn't have the talent. The money was in the other league across town.
Mm-hmm.
But things started going shaky at this ABL.
Money shaky
being one. Some of the investors had some misconduct, got investigated by the feds, had to drop out. At one point, one of the executives
What's going on, Amy? You're welcome.
Val Ackerman, and asked about being acquired by the NBA. Val Ackerman, in her arrogance, waited a few weeks and responded back and said, nah, we're good. We don't need you guys. Around December.
Okay, so now with the ABL having issues with, a lot of things that he was saying. Now the younger talent, the better talent was in the ABL. Val Ackerman could have easily merged that talent over, but she didn't want to. And then they came back, they made an offer to her. She came back and said, nah, we good. Because she wanted to keep the older veterans in there. She wanted to keep the old guard in there and not circumvent the younger talent, which was the better talent to help the league grow further on down the line.
December of 1998, going into 1999, they had a star player who was a great player in college, Katie Starbird. She had hurt her knee. She'd be out for 2 months. She was going to the doctor to get an MRI. Upon going to the doctor, she gets a call, a message, and it says the league is done. It's over. Now, into that same season, there's a basketball player by the name of Craig Hodges who played for the Chicago Bulls.
And we all know who Hodges is.
Tried to get an expansion team with his wife. They were going to get one in Chicago where he played with the Bulls. They lost money as well. A lot of people lost money in this league. Martina Navratilova was an investor in this league, and so was a man named Joseph Borders, who at the time had started a bookstore called Borders Books. It was way before Barnes and Nobles. Borders Books was huge. They lost money. A lot of people lost money. Investors were on the hook for millions. The players, they said, was almost up to $1 million in salary the players did not get. Sponsors did not get. The league, at certain points, blamed the NBA for freezing them out of TV contracts, even as petty as deals with like Wilson and Spalding for basketballs. They couldn't get any funding. They couldn't get any sponsorships. CBS at one point barely played their games, and it would either be a playoff game or a championship game. They would only play a few games on CBS. They almost thought about going and suing the NBA, but they felt the NBA was too big of a monster to even tackle.
Yeah.
But they went down in flames. In that second season, after that second season, because this was year-to-year contracts, that second season, 2 players defected from the ABL. One named Nikki McCray, who was an excellent player for
There
the
you go,
University of
Nicholas.
Tennessee. She would go on to get drafted by the Washington Mystics. And Dawn Staley. Dawn Staley, in her book, cited the reason why she left the ABL was because the WNBA had shorter seasons and it'd be less wear and tear on her knees. They came to the league. When the 99 season started, they formed the WNBPA. They said that their mission was to get the salaries of the players and benefits up for the players. But the main mission of the Players Association,
here we go,
was to block those ABL players from coming into that league.
Boom.
Now you'll see the common threads between the gatekeeping that is done in 2026 as it was done in 1999. The league, because at this time the NBA owned and controlled every team in the WNBA, kind of like Unrivaled does in their league. The WNBA wanted all the talent. They wanted every player from the ABL. The Players Association originally didn't want any players from the ABL because.
Now, isn't that funny? He's saying this about the Players Union now because they didn't want the players from the ABL to come over because guess what? You probably would have had a better Players Union. You would have had better business people that know how to run a league and know how to get the money paid the right way. And it's funny that he's saying that because guess what? How fitting it was that when they constructed the last CBA deal, they didn't look out for the rookies for their contracts. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want the younger talent in. And it plays to this day. If you really pay attention to it, check this out. The roster only has 12 players. Every player that gets drafted in the WNBA doesn't even make the team. You don't even hear from them no more. They don't even want the roster to go to 14 or 15 because the younger talent is going to make the team and start freezing out the older players. This is why the older players don't want to move on. They want to stay stuck in here and get paid more money, more than the younger talent. But eventually it's going to play out where the younger talent is going to oversee the WNBA and push out this older old guard, broken down guard, wheelchair, walker guard, whatever you want to call it.
Because remember, you got the likes of Kim Hampton, Teresa Witherspoon. These are older women.
Gotta go, Retro.
They will get forced out by a more talented group of women who are coming from that ABL.
I agree on that too.
No more than 3 players on a team the first year in 99. And then after that, it went to 5. They didn't change this rule until 2000. They got rid of it. And that's when an influx of players finally got into the league. Some of the most talented players that they've ever had, the Yolanda Griffins, so on and so forth. Those players finally came in. The play in the WNBA at this time,
Mr. Jackson, I agree. He's one of my. He's actually one of my favorite content creators.
Collective bargaining and get better benefits. But remember, Those ABL players were better. Some of those early pioneers of the WNBA, they got shoved out the door. For instance, by this time, Dawn Staley's knees are shot. She's out the league in the early 2000s. Rebecca Lobo played a long time with the New York Liberty, but she had 2 severe knee injuries. She was traded to the Houston Comets and then to the Connecticut Sun, and then was playing in a semi-pro league in Connecticut before she ultimately retired in the early 2000s. See, at a certain point,
probably have to get
they
monkey
didn't
glue.
get to reach their potential. They didn't get to maximize their window of opportunity due to circumstances beyond their control. But they were the original pioneers. Cheryl Swoops, a similar fate, wore down, traded from the Comets to Seattle, retired, tried to come back like Jordan, and it just didn't work and was out the league. As we go forward, it's now 2020.
Here we
sign
go.
a new deal, a new labor contract. The president is Chiney Ogunwa. This is what Chiney had to say about that contract. Now, she's the one that signed the contract they just opted out of. Now, look at how positive she is now in all these tweets compared to what she says on ESPN when she's in front of a mic. Take a look.
And this from Shanae. And she was part of the last CBA, her and Sue Bird, how they got the deal done with Kathy Engelbert. And they got the older guard got more money, but the youngers didn't. What's going on, Cool Water? Nah, I'll probably invite him on the show one day so
Totally
we
different
could do a formal
from what she
discussion.
says now.
We might do something.
We're more marginalized. We don't
but
get
I'm just
the
doing a
respect.
reaction
We
video
haven't
too,
got the pay
because
but
I
in
think this is very
2020,
important
She
information.
was applauding the pay. She was applauding the 50-50 revenue share that they lie about, that they say they don't got now. She was applauding the health. She was applauding the mental health aspects that they got, that they say they need more of. Now they need $500 worth of out of pocket money to go to a doctor, out of network to go see a psychologist, when they already have it. They already won and bargained for it. This is where they won the housing. This is where they won the car rentals. All that was given to them then. They got a 30% bump in the salary cap, which extended veterans, and that was key. And she said that out of her own mouth. She said that these investments will probably raise the high end for the veterans, but it'll make modest gains for the rookies.
Yep.
That's out of her own mouth. Now, if you're a Caitlin Clark fan, this is your section.
All right, Clarkies, here we go.
The reason why Caitlin Clark was not on that Olympic team is because Dawn Staley did Caitlin Clark the exact same way that Tara Vandermeer did her in 1992. And Dawn Staley is still holding a damn grudge about that same shit. That's the reason why. She told Caitlin Clark the exact same thing that Tara Vandermeer told her. She told Caitlin Clark, you're not physical enough to handle, you're not big enough to handle the physicality, and you don't have enough experience on the international level. History repeats itself.
Dirty Dawn, yep.
Furthermore,
I would say Dirty Diana, but
when
Diana.
Dawn Staley got to the WNBA, she played for a team called the Charlotte Stink.
The Charlotte Stink.
A couple years after Dawn Staley was there, a young assistant coach came to that team.
Ooh.
Her name was Cheryl Reeves. If you look at who was on the committee in 2024 for the Olympics,
who
at the top was the president,
Jennifer
Rosati, UConn. Who did she get replaced by? This new one,
Cheryl Reeves.
Sue Bird, UConn. Who also was on that committee in 2024? Dawn Staley. You know who the coach was on that team? Cheryl Reeve. After Tara Vandermeer gave up the reins to Team USA, they were given to Gino.
Wait, I had to pause because y'all got me cracking up in the chat. Lyrica said, I need a blue pill for this. This is some matrix level shit. Retro said, Dirty Dawn. I started thinking Dirty Diana and Cats in the cohorts. Yep. Hey, and I'm telling you, this stuff is so crazy that I'm listening to it. It's like, it blew my mind because I listened to the video the other day. And I said I had to do a reaction to this because nobody's talking about this. Nobody knows this information. That's why when I say that it's going to show you how all of this is. And this is why I keep always say that, hey, the WNBA is never going away because there's no competition for the WNBA. That the brand is too big and they got too many big players behind it and everything. So.
No, Ariema. On Gino Ariema's staff was Dawn Staley as an assistant coach. Dawn Staley took the reins from Gino Ariema. After Gino left, Dawn took over. Do you know who Dawn Staley had as an assistant coach on her team? Cheryl Reeve.
Wow.
History repeats itself. There was another woman on the committee who played in the ABL. Her name was Taj Williams Hinton or something like that.
Well, I'm glad he didn't say no.
All three
Tasha
women
Howard
played in the ABL. See, when the ABL came to the WNBA, it was basically just like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink coming in 2024.
Boom.
With NIL money.
NIL money. Same
Jealousy
type of jealousy
and pettiness existed in the 90s in the W. It changed form from the WNBA players hating on the ABL players to now the new players coming in with NIL, coming in with hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of them with $1 million valuations, pissed off the WNBA players because they've always felt they were marginalized. The running joke in the ABL was, why do we want to play in a league where they got to put a W in front of your name just to tell that you who you belong to? So that was the running joke. They didn't say it out loud. They said it in private because they, these players all know each other. We're in a league that's just called the American Basketball League. You're in the league that is really the NBA, but it's just the women's.
Hey guys,
WNBA.
This is some history for your ass tonight.
When the men leave the gym, they let y'all play. That was a running joke in the league. The players hated that. That's why they hate the NBA. And as an extension, they hate the WNBA.
My brain is hurting. Hey.
Another fun fact,
but
in
true.
2022, Kathy Engelbert, we all know the WNBA owns 42% of itself. The
Hold
NBA
on, I gotta
owns
pause.
42% and a private.
Okay. Now, there's an article came out today by Ann Constable, Front Office Sports. I'm not even gonna get to that yet, but Ann Constable, all of them, Alexa Philippou, all of them that write articles, I don't believe nothing they say. I don't even listen to them. I do better getting my facts from my own research and from people that I trust that has valuable information, because they just throw stuff out there. But before I even go to that article, this is where the 42%, the 16% came in at, and who are the investors behind that. And this is why it's so key to pay attention to who you got backing your league versus people that just throwing money out just to be a part of something.
Equity company came in and bought some of that some of that stock. Now, it ain't so private. If you do some damn research, you can find out who it is. On this trip, we found out who it is. Very interesting. When she sold that stake, that 16% for $75 billion, she said she did it for growth and marketing. Well, one of the investors is Swin Cash, a former player, a great player in the league. Another one of the people in the investment was Michael Dell. If you don't know who Michael Dell is, just Google Dell Computers. He owns the company.
We already know Dell
based
Computers.
Out of Austin. He bought into the WNBA, that piece, because he's a minority owner in the San Antonio Spurs.
Exactly, Anna.
Another group of people that interestingly joined this 16% were the NBA owners.
The NBA owners. Listen to this.
Just imagine, if you're an NBA owner, you get a piece of that 16% when they divvy up money, and you get a piece of the 42% that you got just from being in the NBA. But if you're an NBA owner and a WNBA owner, you get the 3 scoops of ice cream. These are the reasons. Earth, Wind, and Fire told me. These are the reasons why we're here.
Why we're here.
So just imagine, you're an owner, you getting 3 scoops of ice cream every time this bad boy makes money, but they also take.
So check this out. Now he just said that the owners that own the teams in the W also get a piece of that 60% plus the 42% that they already own as NBA owners. So the article came out today stating that the WNBA wants to buy back the 16%. Now how foolish does that sound? That they want to buy back the 16% when they already own a cut of the 16%. Do that make any sense to y'all? No, it don't. That's why I say these people that write articles are just fishing for information, just throwing stuff out there. And none of this stuff is factual evidence. Because why would an owner buy back his share when they know that they have to keep it in there? Unless, because if they have to buy back and everybody has to pay back $3 million, come on.
Take on that debt too. That's what we don't talk about. But the most intriguing party that owns a piece of that 16%.
Hold on, I'm gonna go right back real quick.
3 scoops of ice cream.
3 scoops of ice cream.
These are the reasons. Earth, Wind, and Fire told me. These are the reasons why we're here. So just imagine, you're an owner, you getting 3 scoops of ice cream every time this bad boy makes money, but they also take on that debt too. That's what we don't talk about. But the most intriguing party that owns a piece of that 16% is a little small company in Eugene, Oregon that makes shoes called Nike. And Nike is in that part.
Who has part of that 60%? Who? I did believe he said Nike.
That's what we don't talk about. But the most intriguing party that owns a piece of that 16% is a little small company in Eugene, Oregon that makes shoes called Nike. And Nike is in that part. And so it reads right here. Right here, it says Nike, which was already a WNBA partner, has made a significant equity investment in the league, Engelbert said. Women's sport is one of the best investments with great potential to impact and grow the next era of basketball, said Sonia Henning. Sonia Henning was a dangerous player in the WNBA. Make no mistake, that girl could hoop. But she's an executive at Nike. Nike Vice President of North America League Partnerships. Nike has always been more than a sponsor with the WNBA. We're a strategic partner. Remember that statement, strategic partner.
Strategic.
And we're proud to be part of a movement to redefine the future of sport for a new generation for WNBA players, fans, and girls. See, Caitlin Clark is a Nike employee. Caitlin Clark worked for Nike.
Oh, it's about to get deep,
Wilson
y'all. It's about to get real
Nike.
deep.
Who got shoes? Who got the commercials? Asia
Wilson,
Caitlin
Clark.
Clark. Neither one of their asses going anywhere.
Exactly.
They ain't going to no league. You ain't got to worry about them in Project B.
Thank you.
Unless Nike buys Project B, you won't see them ladies open.
Thank you. I have been saying it. I don't get blue in the face, but I get slightly caramelized a little bit. But I've been saying it. I kept saying it. Caitlin Clark is never, ever playing in the outside the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? It's never going to happen. Asia Wilson. Why you think Asia Wilson never played? It didn't matter how much money that Unrivaled was trying to give her or Caitlin Clark. Hell, Sabrina Ionescu bowed out last year. But guess what? Sabrina's a Nike employee too. But guess what? She don't have a commercial. Asia Wilson and Caitlin Clark, the only two that has commercials. And Nike is putting a lot behind each one of them. Even Paige don't have a commercial. Excuse me. Even Juju don't have a commercial for Nike. I kept saying this. Nike is not going to allow their top players, the two top players for their brand, to go play in other leagues to get injured. That's their money. They're not dumb enough. Why do you think Caitlin Clark turned down a rival 2 years straight? Why do you think Asia Wilson takes the offseason off to recuperate? Why do you think Sabrina Ionescu has not played this year? This stuff is deeper than the eyes can see. Oh, that's my Busta Rhymes talk right there. Put your hands where your eyes can see. Straight buck wilding in the place to be. All right, let's continue.
Overseas. All that overseas talk,
kill it.
Nike owns the WNBA. Nike is a big investor in the WNBA. The WNBA
Asia Reese's with Reebok.
Also, in that ABL, when the ABL teams were coming out, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, who is also the owner of the Golden State Valkyries, was in that league as well. He lost money in the ABL. Do you think he finna negotiate with Unrivaled?
Nope.
He done seen that. He done seen that movie. He already
Tina's stupid.
They not finna buy nobody.
No.
So Nafisa Collier's husband, he can pray all he wants to that they're gonna buy him. If they wouldn't buy better talent in 1998, they damn sure ain't gonna buy the talent they already own in 2026. That ship done sailed. What they're gonna do, they're going to let Unrivaled wither away and die the same way they did the ABL. They watched the ABL fold and then collected all their assets. It's reported that they gave Nikki McCray 3 years, $200,000 to come to that league.
Wow.
When she jumped ship. Now, keep that in mind. If you was a player making $30,000 and this young girl come in and she got $200,000 on a 3-year deal and you know it. Now you see why the anger and the hostility towards outside players occurs. It started in the 90s with the ABL and the WNBA. And it's going to continue to
flowchart.
Each and every year, whiteboard. A new crop of young women come to this league, and they are coming with NIL money. That's why I only did the juniors and the seniors from college, because they're the ones that are going to really shape this league going forward, along with Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson. Now, you might be wondering, well, what about Unrivaled? Well, Unrivaled is an Under Armour company. You know who's Under Armour greatest basketball player that they had on contract? It's a little skinny dude to shoot threes named Steph Curry. If you wonder why recently he decided to cut ties with Under Armour, look no further than 2 elements. 1, they didn't secure Caitlin Clark. 2, they didn't secure Caitlin Clark and Unrivaled. Had they ponied up the money and got Caitlin Clark under contract in Under Armour. They then could have persuaded her to play in Unrivaled.
Fail.
That's why he's sitting there mad as hell wearing Caitlin Clark shoes. Now you're trying to kiss her butt and trying to be buddy.
It ain't about
because
to work.
He know he losing money over here at Unrivaled.
Yep. And especially with the ratings in Unrivaled tanking,
just like
week after
in
week.
The ABL story, they too are seeing the writing on the wall. Skylar Diggins Smith ain't just sitting there going to Golden Globe red carpets, stunting and fronting when she's injured. She knows this shit is about to go down. Titanic Part 2.
Hey,
Satu Sabali.
What Kevin Hart said in one of his specials? It's about to go down.
Saw the writing on the wall. See, when you in house, you know everything that's going on.
Exactly.
In the ABL story, they knew that when the
and that's so true, guys. That is so true, because the fact of the matter is, Satu ain't even playing. All these big names ain't playing. Angel Reese didn't come for the second year. A lot of these players know what's going on around Unrivaled. You know what I'm saying? They know what's going on in Unrivaled. Because the fact of the matter is that Unrivaled is losing. The investors that's backing them, TNT, is already in trouble, because the fact of the matter is Netflix and Paramount are up in arms to trying to acquire what it is, Warner Disney Discovery Channel. And then TNT already got rid of the NBA segment inside the NBA. So you know Unrivaled does not have a platform to broadcast if this transition was to go through between Paramount or Netflix. Unrivaled is a sinking ship. And don't be surprised, after this season, you hear the demise on the unraveling of Unrivaled. Oh, that's gonna be a title for a video when it happens.
When the plane ride started going from first class to coach, they saw it. When the plane rides started becoming bus rides, they knew something was up. When the hotel stays weren't so luxurious.
Oh, let me kid you welcome.
When you went from the Hyatt Regency and now you at a Motel 6 and Tom Bodette's waiting to turn the light off for you, you're in trouble. And they saw it. You don't think these Unrivaled players see it? All the WNBA is doing is waiting for the lights to get cut off and the bargaining. Y'all gonna run to that table. Oh, them deals gonna look sweet. Them deals that they told y'all to stop sending, the little tender offers. Here's your tender offer. The ones that got them before that moratorium, they sitting there looking at that paper. Man, that 300,000 gonna look good in a couple months. When your pocket,
man, that's my boy.
When the lint talking more than the dollars in your pocket.
Yeah, I don't like Mary either. Mayberry.
But that's where the crux of all the infighting with this league came from, was the ABL. And it's been passed down generation by generation. Because remember, those ABL women are everywhere, coaching right now, in executive suites right now. And their impact on the WNBA will not be told, because the WNBA does never, ever want that type of smoke again. They will go by the 48 laws of power. Crush your enemy totally. And that's what they plan on doing to Unrivaled. And after they get through with Unrivaled, they got some work to do in that Players Association.
Oh.
And we're going to talk about that.
And that's going to be video. You think.
But thank you for joining the ride. Appreciate each and every one of you.
So now y'all see how it all started, how it all shapes. History always repeats itself, guys. Always repeats itself all the time. We're not going to leave yet. You know what I'm saying? The thing about it is that shout out to Beat Chef again for allowing me to react to his video. And usually I usually clip some of his video, added it to my video, but this right here was much needed. I be sitting on information all the time, guys. I sit on information all the time. And I only share it when I need to share it. I only speak about it when I need to share it, or I'll speak about it. Because the fact of the matter is, this history goes back all the way back into the 90s, and it's still presenting itself today. That is why I said that the WNBA is never going away. They're too much of a bigger player. You could create as many leagues you want. If you can't get the players or you don't have the proper funding, it don't really matter. I don't care how much money Saudi Arabia got. If they don't have television contracts, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. The TGL, that golf tournament that Tiger Woods got, it's doing better because they have the right backing with networks and stuff like that. On Rival don't have. And the thing about it is, Athletes Unlimited has a better TV viewership because they are shown on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPNU, and some other channels. On Rival can't get that. On Rival can never get the channels that they needed to present. They didn't land Asia. They didn't land Caitlin. They didn't land some other players. People bolting. People get injured. And this is why the WNBA, with the contract, is going to. And the thing about it is, the players' union isn't dumb because they know for a fact if they strike, it's over for them. Because replacement players is going to come in so fast, like the Hindenburg, they're not going to see it coming. So again, shout out to Beat Chef. Y'all follow his channel. I definitely needed to get this out because I've been sitting on it for a minute, and I said this is good time to put all the nonsense to bed about what's going to happen to the WNBA, and there's nothing going to happen to it. The deal is going to get signed one way or the other, but guess what? If these players do not sign this deal, the money that is being presented to them now is going to be even lesser, and they're going to be piss poor mad at Breonna Stewart, Nafisha Collier, and Neko Omuke. And the thing about it, the last thing that he said, that there's some work to be done with the players union. Trust me and believe, they about to get them up out of there, out of that players union. You're going to see, you might see some new faces, younger faces running the union. And they might put some of their own people over there to make sure they don't have to have deals being held up, because this CBA should have been signed months ago. But they want to continue with the nonsense. They want to continue to keep playing around and doing all of this stuff. But now we got the history lesson that we needed, you know. So when people say, hey, the WNBA is about to fall, just go back to this live, just go back to his video and show them why, because it's never going to happen. On Rival is dead in the water. Project B is trying to find more players. They don't have the right players. And when the young talent takes over the WNBA, we'll be blessed to have better, exciting, younger talent and better basketball. Change is coming. It might not happen right now, but it is coming. Y'all just have to stay patient to it. So now, I also, like I said, I talked about that article earlier in here, because the fact of the matter, that article, I don't jump on everything just to, look at it, because them articles with ESPN or Front Office Sports, they make up lies. Like I said, Nike and their owners own a certain percentage of the 16%. It's crazy for them to give it back, buy back into it, when the league still has to generate the amount of money to get paid for the league to pay back the owners. It doesn't make sense at all. And everything like that. So if anybody has questions, go ahead and shoot y'all questions in the chat, and I try to answer it as quick as I can before I log off. Also, I will be starting a morning show in March, but I think on Fridays, long as there's no Iowa games, and I still got Iowa content to come up later tonight, the recap of the game. which I won. Shout out to Addie Deal, Lyrica. She got down. So I just feel like at the end of the day, guys, everything that's coming out and, you know, ESPN talk about Caitlin Clark and all of this stuff. It's just a bunch of smoke screen, and that's what they're doing. So, but I think the fact that I am working on a morning show in March, I think I will start. It will be Tuesdays. It will start at Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I picked the time at 9 a.m. I think that's pretty feasible. I was going to do either 7 and 10, but I'll do it in the middle to make it. That's a good idea. Lyrica, I might do a live stream playback of the game, and just let it run out, or do a live stream of the playback of the game. I might do that. Maybe, I don't know. I gotta see, because they play Sunday again. They play Michigan State Sunday, so I might do it sometime tomorrow. I don't know. Let me pick it out. But just know that I am going to do a morning show in March. But I want to do a show like this on Fridays, probably like 7:30, 8ish, to go over like information, you know, have a live stream where the community come together. Y'all can ask me questions, you know, something y'all been thinking about through the week that I might not cover in the videos. I think it's really good. So I haven't did this in a while, and I want to bring everybody together so we could continue to push this train forward, you know, in 2026. So y'all got to take the ride on the bus with the Beat Shelf. Y'all got to sit back in the lounge with Livewire and everything. So, oh, cool. Send me an email. Let me know. Okay, I got you. Front Office Sports has an investor in Raya. Thank you, Peggy. Do you guys know that? I know. See, that's the funny thing. All of these people has investment with Raya, and that's why they be talking so cryptic around to make it seem like they on the WNBA side. Nah, it's not going to happen like that. Oh yeah, Peggy. I mean, Tina, you did say something about that Jackie style, so I got to think about. Hey, Pam, what's going on? And everything. Bluegrass Smoker, what's going on, brother? It's a long time no see. So, again, my morning show but my morning show. Oh man, I think I told y'all the name of the morning show. Retro, if you near, can you type the name of the morning show that it's going to be? I think I think it's called The First Possession, something like that. So yeah, I got it right here, guys. I got it. Whew. The Early Possession. That's the name of the morning podcast, and it's gonna start in March, around about 9 a.m. on Tuesdays. And again, it's gonna cover everything in women's sports, from college, WNBA stuff, news and notes and stuff like that. And then I have a segment where I can answer questions towards the end. And roughly it's gonna be this time right here, almost an hour in and everything like that. So stay tuned for it. I'll let y'all know. I'm still working on a theme and all of this stuff for it. But I think if y'all want me to do like a Friday evening podcast, long as no sports is playing, like the Iowa Hawkeyes are playing, or NFL, you know, whatever the case would be. So then I'll do this, you know, so we could like have something like that. So yeah. So, but now that y'all got the information that y'all need, y'all, it was very informative. Like again, I say shout out to Beat Shelf, shout out to everyone in the chat that was here. Retro, Lyrica, Tina, Arnold, Shallow, Pam, Peggy, Bluegrass. Some of y'all I haven't seen in a while. Everything. Anna, thank you. Like I said, Cool Water, Bronx Kid, my man. So it just goes to show you guys, there's a lot of research about the W, a lot of research out there about the ABL, why it went the way it is, why it's still going on now with the older players, and it's crazy. So again, like, comment, subscribe, hype up the channel. every video. I will be dropping a Iowa reaction video later tonight and everything like that. So thank y'all for joining me. Until the next time, Livewire Sports Media. And if it ain't live, it's the wire.